Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne and I'm back today to tell you about my favorite books that I read in 2020. First off, I only read 35 books in 2020, which for me personally isn't great. I just wish that I would have read more books this year. Then also right now I would have more than 6 books to show you. But yes, here are my favorites. Let's jump right in. First off, I just realized I misplaced the book, but The End of Her by Shirley Pina was by far my favorite thriller this year. Also, Shirley Pina is one of my favorite thriller authors. This book follows a couple. They just had twin babies. The mom is really stressed out because the children have colic and they won't stop crying, so she's a bit sleep deprived, and that just adds to the whole story feeling so out of control wild. But her husband, in his first marriage, his wife died in what she was told was an accident, but a woman from his past comes and says that she's going to report to the police that he actually murdered his first wife unless they pay a sum of money. And this book is so chaotic. I had so much fun reading this. There were so many twists and turns. There are other people who end up getting involved. There's affairs and just like domestic thriller stuff, troubles with the guy's work and co-workers and people from his past, and you don't know who to trust, who to believe, what's actually going on until right at the end. And it was so much fun to me. Like, this is my perfect type of thriller. As exciting as it was and how many different elements were going on, and then the ending I feel like was genius. I love the woman from the guy's past. Love her as a character. So much fun. The best thriller of 2020. Transcendent Kingdom by Jesse. One of the reasons why I love this book so much is because the writing style is really odd. It's very run-on, stream of consciousness. I normally don't like books like that, but in this one it worked. But this follows a woman who is working on her PhD in neuroscience. Her mom comes to stay with her. She is suffering from depression. She can't get out of bed. So the main character, her name's Gifty. Gifty is taking care of her mom. She's also reflecting on her childhood when her mom's depression overtook her before, and when she visited Ghana as a kid, her brother's drug addiction. Like, it follows a bunch of different topics in Gifty's life, present day relationship, her work in neuroscience, studying addiction in mice, and the stories all just flow together and switch from subject to subject and flip time periods, but like in a smooth transitional way that just kept me reading and reading. It was a pretty powerful read. I don't think I felt the impact that a lot of other people who read this book did, but I still was able to enjoy it very much. This story had so much to say, but it's also said in a simple, beautiful way without explaining to me like what it was trying to do or what it was trying to discuss. This was a great one. Highly recommend. Just to prove that I'm a basic person, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab is just as wonderful as everyone says it is, or like 90% of people who've read it say that it is. This follows Addie LaRue starting in 1700s France when she makes a deal with a god, but not like God, just like there's a bunch of gods probably, and she made a deal with one to escape an arranged marriage, but he twisted around. It turns out now she's gonna live forever, but no one will remember her. And then one day in 2014 New York City, she meets a guy who remembers her. This book was so good. I mean, it literally spans 300 years. Like, you keep flashing back from the 1700s onwards, exploring her life and how horrible her life is because no one remembers her, but also the freedom that she experiences. I also posted a reading vlog of it recently, so go watch that. This is another book that discussed so many hard-hitting topics, just discussing abandonment, wanting to be wanted, and fear of being forgotten, and just the anonymity of life sometimes. It was so beautiful, so well written. I really enjoyed seeing like some world history and discussing like the woman experience from 1700s onward. I loved it so much, and anything that I didn't 100% love, like I completely understood why it was there, why it happened that way. I cried a lot, like so much. It was just so beautiful. I agree, the hype is spot on accurate. This book is wonderful. Hi, it's me from the future. I wanted to slip a little giveaway into this video just as a thank you for your support. So I'm giving away 2 packages. One is just Addie LaRue by itself. The other is Addie LaRue, Betty, and Outlawed, all hardcover, unread copies. In order to enter the giveaway, leave a comment down below, and just if you want the copy of Addie LaRue by itself, add a book emoji to the end of your comment, and if you want the package of Addie LaRue, Outlawed, and Betty, leave a book stack emoji at the end of your comment. Also like this video and subscribe to my channel. I will pick a winner in about 2 weeks. We'll go from there. So there'll be 2 winners. I'm super excited to share Addie LaRue with everyone because I love it so much, and I want to be able to provide access to a couple more people to read this incredible book. So thank you for entering the giveaway. Next, I can't even believe I read this book this year, but An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. This follows a married couple, Celeste and Roy. Roy goes to prison. He's falsely accused of rape. We know from the beginning that it was definitely a false accusation, but he goes to prison anyways, and it shows their marriage, how they got together, how him going to prison has changed their marriage and their relationship when he gets out, how much prison can change a person, the relationships that Celeste has outside of the marriage, and like her life outside of Roy since Roy is gone. And it was, oh my god, so touching. The look at how prison can affect a human was just heartbreaking, especially because you know he was innocent. Very sad. I love this book. I loved the other characters outside of Celeste and Roy, and Celeste was just like this strong, wonderful human. Great book. Can't wait to read more by this author. And then a basic favorite that everyone loved like years ago, I feel like, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Finally got on the bandwagon. This book is amazing. This is like a sci-fi thriller. This follows a guy who is a professor of some sort of science, but when he was younger he was on the trajectory to be like a world famous scientist making great discoveries and things, but his girlfriend got pregnant and he decided to get married, take care of his family versus going the science route. He's happy, but he always wondered what could have been. And then one day he's out, he gets kidnapped by somebody, wakes up in a lab where they all know who he is, but they say he went into this machine 18 months ago and finally came back, and he's this like famous scientist. So it explores parallel universes, and it's so much fun, so thrilling, then also discussing alternate choices in your life. And then the ending was crazy, but not even just the very end, but like the whole end section. Thing after thing after thing was happening, and it was so twisted and fun, and also like a little bit of a love story, but also like sci-fi and wild. I almost forgot the most heartbreaking book I read this year, and that was When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. This is nonfiction, a book mainly written by Paul Kalanithi. He was a neurosurgeon who got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer when he was 35 or so. Hadn't completed his PhD, but you know, spent the last 10 years of his life working to become a doctor and trying to find the meaning of life, basically. When he got diagnosed with cancer, terminal cancer, he started writing this book reflecting on his diagnosis and his relationship with patients, dealing with his patients getting terminal illness and then it flipping to him becoming the patient with a terminal illness. Such a beautiful book. He always aspired to become a writer. The book that he did write was amazing, and then his wife finished the rest of the book for him after he passed away, and oh, so heartbreaking. I loved his exploration of the meaning of life. Just his reaction to dealing with death was so inspiring and beautiful. Another book that I bawled my eyes out while reading. I think I also have, do I have a vlog reading that? I don't know, I'll link it if I do. But it was so good, and that's another one that everyone loved years ago, and I'm super late to read, but it was amazing. I listened to the audiobook, perfect audiobook, and even though it's not read by him, like you feel like it's read by him, and the fact that it's like a first-person narrative in this touching, sad story, oh my god, like, ooh. That's the only one of these that I cried so much during reading it, but right now, like, I want to cry again. The fact that someone like Paul Clanathy isn't on this earth, like Aaron Burr said, death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints, because Paul Clanathy was an amazing person. So sad, but highly recommend. If I recommend any of these, like universally to everyone, it's When Breath Becomes Air. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite read from 2020 was, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.